My name is Ifigenia. Today I'm here with my colleague Sanya, and we're reporting live from the European Film Club for a new extraordinary discussion.
Welcome to you all. Now, in case it's your first time, stumbling upon this episode, we are here to tell you what European Film Club is. So, first of all, European Film Club is aiming to be an international platform, of course, where all young people from age 12 to 19 can actually join here and learn about cinema and most of all discuss about that.
What makes it unique, really? This project was co-created with a group of young people all over Europe, so it's created by young people for other young people. But now it's time for a new interview. Who's our guest today, Sanya?
Today we are here with Martin Miehe-Renard, which is the director of The Contest, which is a film that actually is on the European Film Club platform. So welcome to our interview, Martin.
Thank you very much.
So how are you, first of all?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm
That's
sitting
great.
here in Copenhagen, Denmark, where I live. And as you may be able to see on my skin tone, it's still the last of summer in Denmark.
My first question is, can you give us a brief overview of your film for the people who haven't watched it yet, and what inspired you to create it?
The inspiration came from a book written by a woman in Denmark called Gitte Løkkegaard. The film is not one-to-one the same as the book, but I got hold of her, and she and I, we made the adaptation for the movie. And I think at the moment that we did that, and that is 10 years ago, or so maybe 11 years ago when we started writing the script, the whole subject for the movie was extremely authentic and very, very pressing in Denmark at that moment. But strangely enough, and unfortunately enough, it is still very actual all over Europe, all over the world, actually. If it's gone anywhere, it's gone to the worse, I think.
Actually, you said it all comes from a book. And what I really liked, so first of all, we have to say that me and Ifigenia are really close to music. So we really enjoyed this movie, just because it shows us another part of music, how much it's difficult on this dream, and of course, as all the dreams. And actually, I wanted to ask you, why did you decided to, tell us about this we can say mission, and where did inspiration come from over the book? Why did you decide to talk about this? Was it near to something one of your experiences, or you just wanted to say something to an audience?
Yes, I can tell you it's very personal for me, because I am not from Denmark. I live in Denmark and I work in Denmark, and I've been living most of my life in Denmark. But I'm not from Denmark, and neither are my parents. One part of my family is from Crimea. And as you may know, there's a big war going on in Crimea. And my family is still living in Simferopol on the island of Crimea right now. So that was one part of the family. The other part of my family comes from Romania and Moldova. And they're, like gypsies, the traveling people. And my mother comes from Scotland. So I'm a very, very strange mixture of different races, but none of it is Danish. And then I moved to Denmark. Maybe I should explain to you, because if it sounds so strange, it's because I grew up in a circus. Yeah, my grandparents had circuses. Actually, 2 circuses. That's why my name is Miehe-Renard. There was a circus called Circus Miehe and another circus called Circus Renard. And it was the circus prince from Circus Renard that met the circus princess from Circus Me, and they got married, and they made my father. So that's where I come from. And that means that when I came to Denmark, I actually had that experience of being strange, a stranger, coming from places where, you know, being a gypsy is not what people normally like. And it's pretty hard to adapt into a new country. So when I read this book by Gitte Løkkegaard, it all came back to me. I remember how it was to come to a strange country and try to find my feet and try to find out how could I fulfill my dreams in a strange country. And in this story, I think the ingenious thing about Gitte Løkkegaard's story is that in her story, it's not the stranger like Sawsan, that's the girl in the movie. She's actually not the stranger. Of course, her culture, she comes from a different culture in Turkey, living in Copenhagen. But actually the boy coming from Jutland, from a very Christian area in Denmark, when he goes to Copenhagen, he is actually the stranger. And she, as a Turkish girl, is trying to help him to adapt to the new culture in Copenhagen for him. And what I think is ingenious about this is that it shows that people are people wherever you come from. And everybody's strangers until they are not. And if you just realize this and you stop being prejudiced and racist, then you can actually fulfill not only your own dreams, but the dreams of your fellow man and your fellow woman. And that's the story really in this movie. That's what it's all about. This is
absolutely. I'm hypnotized because it's something of amazing. You said something that it's really close for me, and I definitely agree with you. So people are people wherever they are. And so let's go on with the other questions.
Since you just said that was like so great. It was great hearing about the backstory. And how did you go about casting the film? And what were you looking for in the actors that went there?
Of course, we had to look a little bit to how their looks and their cultural looks. We needed a very Danish-looking boy. And we needed a Turkish-looking girl, because that's such an important part of the story, that they come from two different cultures. So it would be strange, it would be harder to tell the story if they weren't, you know, kind of archetypical for their cultures. So now I have the best casting director in the world. That's my wife. She is my casting director. She's been for many years. So she actually found all of the actors, and especially the two main characters. And the only way you can do it is really going through lots and lots and lots and lots of kids in the right age. I think she was casting, I don't remember the number anymore because it's so many years ago, but I think it was more than 2,000.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's so
really
more than 2,000, and had all of them in, you know, and just for a first encounter, and then shortlisted it and took the next time only a couple of hundreds in, and you know, narrowed it down and down and down. And what I needed was, of course, some charming kids that, you know, that you would like to see on a screen, but I wouldn't like them to be like Disney charming, you know, all too perfect. I wanted them to be real people. They should be, you know, you should really see them as authentic people and interesting people to see for like 1.5 hours. You need some interesting people. So that was what we were looking for. That's hard, because when you're like 12 years old or 13 years old, you're not grown yet. You're not finished. So it's very hard to demand from a 12 and 13 years old kid that, oh, you got to be very, you know, charming and intelligent and interesting, and so you can't do that. So what we do when we cast, we say, you should just be yourself. And we talk to them about the story. And most of the kids fully understood what the story was all about. And then I said, we gave them some of the lines and said, try just to, play this scene just for fun. And let's see what happens. And they did. And oh man, there were so many good ones. And then the next thing was you have to kind of find the two of them that actually fit together, because this was not only one part. It's really like the two parts is part of a whole. They have to fill it out together. So after we found a lot of good boys and we found a lot of good girls, we put them together in different combinations to see what happened. I can tell you a funny story about all of this. Whenever they came in, because there were so many kids that came to these auditions, so the first thing we did was give them a number. Simply give them a number, put it on a...
Oh, yeah.
So later on, when you were looking at the tapes, you couldn't remember the names anymore and stuff. And say, oh, it's a dark-haired girl with the blue eyes. You wouldn't ever remember. So it just said, it's number 221 or what. So we talked about the kids like numbers for a while. And do you know what number that Malika, who actually ended up playing Sawsan, had? Would you like to know?
Yes.
Yeah.
She was number 1.
No, really?
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. She was the very first girl who came to the audition.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
And we went through like 1,000 more. But number 1 got the part.
It was like, it wasn't like, a face-to-face, okay, that's the right girl, that's the right one. That's
I kind of the first time I saw her, I thought, oh man, she's good.
She's Sawsan.
And on top of being very interesting and beautiful and funny and witty and everything, she could also sing. And
really?
Yes, and she could play the guitar. And
Wow,
in the movie, many people have asked me about it, but now I can tell you, in the movie, she is actually singing. She is singing the song, and she is
Really?
playing for real. Yes.
Actually, I had the opportunity to meet your composer, one of the composer, which is Franz Bach, and
very good friend of mine. Yeah.
yeah, we had an interesting conversation about how to adapt the right music to the scenes in cinema. And I wanted to ask you, how did you find this dynamicity in a book, actually? And how was this, transformation, this transition from this real story, the original story, from, your personality? How was this relationship with your personality and the story, and then the adapting to this actually scenes to a film?
It's a really, really hard question to answer. It's really hard, because you're right. It is very hard to do a good adaptation. In this case, I thought it was not that hard, because I thought it was a very good story. But I always do this. It's not the first time that I've made an adaptation from a book. So what I always do is that I read it, and then I try really, really hard to remember the feelings, my first feelings, when I read it. And what you really have to adapt from a story is the feeling to the audience. They should feel the same thing that I felt when I read the book. And so don't focus on the words, don't focus on the places, don't focus on all the things that, of course, are important, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the message and the feelings between the characters. So in every scene, you could say what they're saying in 12 different ways. The important thing is that you feel it, and you can kind of transport this feeling to the audience in the cinema theater. So that's what we were going for. So I was working with Gitte, who was the original author, and she had a hard time because she has already written it once. And I kept on saying to her, I don't care what you read. I don't, they don't need to say the same lines. We need to recreate every scene because we couldn't do the whole book. That would have been a very long movie. So little by little, she went into that kind of thinking, and then it worked. It's really good. And then, of course, when we did it, when we were doing the movie on the stages, the kids were in on it, like writers. When they changed a lot of the lines. They said to me, "Oh, we don't like to say it that way. We would never say it that way." So, okay, what would you say? And then they came up with another line and said, "Okay, right, let's do it. As long as the feeling is right." They were wonderful to work with. Actually, the young boy, Sylvester, who played the main character, is a huge star in Denmark now. He's adult.
Really?
Yeah, he's a young adult now, and he's a huge star, maybe the biggest star amongst his age. He's like, I think he's 20
That's
now.
great.
Yeah. No, he's more than 20, he's 22, 3, something like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, I think it's a common thought between me and Ifigenia. The best thing I've ever of this film is definitely that it's all natural. I mean, I can feel that Sawsan will say that words. It's not, about perfection, about right words. It's definitely what a girl of that age with that dream would say.
It's not only my direction or anything. It's just as much herself coming up with the way of saying things, that the way she would like to say it, that makes it so natural. So what I do when I've been working a lot with kids, also smaller kids in different movies, and I'm trying to create an atmosphere on the set where they can be relaxed and not being afraid. And I'm talking a lot to the film crew, saying you gotta be nice to the kids. Don't be like kindergarten nice. Be like respectful nice. You know what I mean? Treat the kids like they were adults. Take them seriously. And little by little, they feel like, okay, we should come with suggestions because we are actually listened to. And then they like to do it. And I start out by explaining them what the scene should all be all about in the feelings. Now, he's coming into a new class and he's really, really anxious. And not only it's a new class, it's a class with a lot of different cultures he's coming into, and he's really like, doesn't at all look like the schools he was attending where he came from. So he's got to be very nervous. And I said to her, and you can see that he's nervous. So you actually, think perhaps I should help him a little bit. He looks nice. And that's the feeling that you got to have. So when we worked, they knew exactly what the whole scene was about.
So my next question for you was, what were you hoping the audience will learn from your film?
On a personal level, I would like them to learn that you can do what you want if you believe in yourself. You shouldn't be taken aback by, other people's look at you and other people's strange fears and stuff like that. You should believe in yourself and go for your goals. That's one thing. And a very important thing, I think, especially for the kids watching the movies. But on a higher level, so to speak, I'm trying to make people see that it doesn't really matter the skin of your color, the sex that you have, whether it's a boy, girl, or something in between, doesn't matter. What country you come from, what race you're from, what religion that you have been surrounded by, and all of that. When all comes down to basics, people are the same. And dreams are made of the same stuff. And the only way we can fulfill these dreams that I said in the beginning is by helping each other. I mean it in a kind of how can I say it, in an active way. if you are not nice to other people, you are not going to fulfill your own dream, because you cannot step on corpses on the way to your dream. That's not the way to do it. And if we want a better world and a better Europe, a better country, a better family, you gotta work together, and you gotta believe that it's the right way to go. And of course, that's a big, and it's a political issue. I know it is. But for me, as I started out in this interview to tell you, it's very personal for me. I came to Denmark when I was a kid, and by then Denmark was quite a tolerant place to be and stuff. But nowadays, if my family had come to Denmark now, we would never have been allowed in. Never. No way. And if we came in, we would have been kicked out again. So I really feel it on my own body. So this is not things that I say to say it. I say it because I really mean it. So that is the message in this movie. And there is no, I'm sorry, there is no message more important in the world right now. Maybe the climate. But then this is surely coming up as a very big second.
Whoa, that's amazing. I really liked how you talked about dreams, you know? No one can stop you from that. So I wanted to ask you, I know it's a difficult question maybe, but I really wanted to know your opinion about what's, in your opinion, the balance between having and caring in our dreams nowadays, and most of all, not forgetting, by the way, the reality that we are living, although, of course, sometimes it could be cruel.
Wow, that's a big question. It is a very big question. I think one of the things that you could do, that one should do, as the first step, is stop calling it a dream. Because calling a dream is really somehow, when you say about a young person, she or he has a dream of becoming blah, blah, then it's a kind of unrealistic thought. Sounds when something is a dream, it's just an unrealistic thought, like lying in your bed and having a dream. No, she or he is having an ambition. That's something else. I have an ambition. I have something to tell. I have something I would like to change. I have something that to offer. And in the same time you do that, you actually are changing the whole concept of what we used to call your dream. You're making it into a task that is interesting, not only for you, but for the ones that are going to be the recipient of your ambition. And when you look at it in that way, then reality is just a kind of, the reality that you live in is just something that you have to just take into account. Okay, I don't have that much money. Okay, I'll try to find a way to do it without money. I haven't never been abroad. I've never been traveling. Well, yes, you have, because nowadays we have the internet. You can travel all you want. Maybe your body hasn't been traveling yet, but your mind has. So, looking at it in that way, then obstacles are not obstacles anymore. It's just tasks that have to be taken care of. And it's a set of mind that I think that is useful, instead of just being, I'm just a dreamer. And you know what a dreamer is? When we're talking this the film industry and stuff like that, a dreamer is somebody dreaming, I would like to be a movie star. This is stupid. What a stupid thing to like to be. Actually, I can tell you, it's not a nice thing to be a movie star. It isn't, because you never have any personal life anymore. You never have and everywhere you go, everybody's staring at you all the time. So if you don't have another reason for doing what you do, then you will have a dream, and if it comes true, you will live in a dream. You will not live in reality. But if you have an ambition, I would like to become an actress in movies, because I have a story I would like to tell. I have more than one story I would like to tell. I'd like to tell them about the place where I come from. I'd like to tell about all of the people and what we're striving with in my community and stuff like that. Then it's a whole other story. Then you're not, maybe you become a movie star, kind of, but it's in another league. You know the kind of league that I'm talking about, because you know the people that are interesting to listen to in interviews and stuff like that.
Well, I'm getting emotional. Can I say it? And yeah, let's go on. Go, Ifigenia.
Okay, so what challenges did you face during production, and how did you overcome them?
In a movie like this, when you have to have this girl who writes a song, and she goes all the way to the contest, which is the title of the movie, to win it, you need a very good song. You need a hit song. But not only a hit song, because if it was just a hit song, we could go to all the big hit makers and say, write us a hit. But in this case, we have to say, no, write a hit that could have been written by a 12-year-old girl. So it has to be simple, but not too simple. It has to be, a huge hit, but simple in the way that a young girl would think, and the kind of poetry that she would have. That was hard, extremely hard. So we went to some of the big hit makers in Denmark and asked them to make some songs, and they did. I think I got I don't remember how many, but a lot of songs I listened to, and I said, it's not like that. It's not quite that. It's not quite that. I was almost beginning to give up hope to find the real song. And then all of a sudden it came. And every time, I think we had a handful of songs we thought was quite good. And then I asked Sawsan or Malika is her real name, to learn it on her guitar and just sing it for me. And I had to listen to if it sounded like she meant it, it should be her words. And then we came up with this song, and it was good. I think it's a very
absolutely good. Yes.
It's fantastic. Let me tell you a little side story here about the song. When we did the shootings at the contest, it was actually done in the real contest.
Really?
Danish television, yes.
Was it real?
It was real. They are having this every year. We have this big contest called the MGP contest for young people, and in this huge stadium, a lot of I think 15,000 audiences. Like that. Yeah, and they do that every year. And we made an agreement with the television that just before the contest, the real contest began, we had half an hour with the film crew, and we took Malika in on stage, and I first of all I went in and I told the audience, we are doing this movie. It's about this and that, and we have this girl. She's coming now and she's singing a song, and please,
that's true.
Hope you like it and stuff like that. And she went in and she sang, and they were wild. So all of the applauding and all of that—that's for real.
Europe is full of different cultures, but at the same way, on a cultural level, there is a very blindness of stereotypes, I would like to say, and inclusion actually is not at the 100% real. So I really wanted to ask you, in your art, which is actually film, and most of all European films, how do you think that European films can be useful to show and promote all the cultures we have, and this inclusion up to 100%? How this could be real and not only words?
I'm not sure that it's possible to answer that question really fully, but what I could say is by telling stories like this one and similar stories from Greece, from Italy, we have a chance in Europe, because in Europe we can tell stories for Europeans, but from a Greek perspective or from an Italic perspective, or Danish, or Scottish, or German, and stuff like that. And we have almost, I would say, a chance that you wouldn't have anywhere else in the world, to have this kind of mixture of saying, I feel like I'm a European, although I'm a Catholic from Italy, or I'm a Protestant from Denmark, or I'm a Greek Orthodox Catholic from Greece, or whatever. And it's just all like different colors in a big, beautiful picture. And I think the diversity that we are having is what makes Europeans in a better position to talk about exclusion and inclusion and stuff like that, because we have it so close in our own continent, really. And in your generation, I mean, you gotta just take it a step further, please, like you are with the things that you're doing here. The whole beginning, when you were talking here right now, is actually a kind of a declaration of inclusion, isn't it?
Wow, that's an amazing speech, and it's so linked to what actually we are here for. We are from an European platform, and diversity and protect diversity is one of our main aims. So we are really close to this, and it's so beautiful watching films as the context that show this. So really, thank you so much.
My last question for you was, what advice do you have for aspiring directors and filmmakers who want to follow in your footsteps?
Before we start talking about taking an education, or doing some schools, or train to dance, sing, whatever, act and stuff like that, before we even talk about that, what you need to have is an urge to tell your story. And now you would say to me, yes, of course. What do you mean? That's, anybody can say that. But no. When you go home from this little speech here, you should actually think about it. What is my story? What is it that I would like to tell? You have a lot of stuff you would like to tell, really. And try to pin it out for yourself. And when you've done that, the next question is, how? How will I tell it to anybody? Now you're talking about doing a movie. Yeah, of course you can do a movie. But you could also do a painting, or you can compose some music, or you could, there's many different ways of telling one story. And if you find out that your way should be going the movie way, then you should find out, what would I like to be on a movie set? Am I the actress kind of person? I would like to express myself as an actress and tell my story that way. Or would I like to be behind the camera and putting the camera, facing the camera on somebody else as an actor, and I would try to tell my story that way. That's what I have done, because that's the way I think I'm better at telling my story. And of course, writing a script where you can really, really get into shaping the message in your story, so it's lives up to what you would like to say and stuff like that. That's really the most important thing, is to find out, what is it I will tell, and how will I tell it?
So we go through the last questions of this deep interview, and really enjoyed it. It's actually always part of the what would you say format questions, we can say. And it's linked to the main character of the contest. And so my question is, what would you say to a young person that has Sawsan, doesn't have a very big support by the people that love her so much as her family, and as Karl, that lives in a part of his country that actually it's really conservative, and so he doesn't have so much high hopes for his and at the same pair. But
what happens in this movie is that these two people these two kids, they actually find the buttons in each other, to press the right buttons in each other, and together they kind of grow bigger and grow the courage to go against all of this family, I don't know what to call it. That's a habit, really, in the Turkish family. That the father doesn't want to do anything. But in the end, I don't know if you remember that from the movie. In the end, when he sees her on stage, he gets really proud. And on the other hand, when the old the boy's grandfather was very, very similar actually to the Turkish father, but only in the Danish way, in the only Christian way. So he has the same when he sees the way that they find their own way, running away and all stuff like that. He gets proud as well, and that's what I'm trying to say. You shouldn't be so afraid to push some boundaries. Actually, not only you shouldn't be afraid to push boundaries, you should feel obligated to push boundaries at your age. Please push, because if you don't, then nobody will.
Oh my gosh, I'm feeling so. I think how many times I said I'm touched. I mean, there are too much times, but that's true. So it was just amazing, really, listening to you today.
It was a great session with Jas, and you gave us a lot of meaningful points to think about. And this is possible to see through your film. Today, we could see you in an amazing and strong passion. And when you see this, you can see a big future.
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
I definitely agree with Ifigenia. I mean, I can feel you a passion, and the best thing of ever is that you haven't said feel. I can see your feelings, and when you can see feelings, you can see what's really true in that. And when you can see that what's true, you are talking with a person, with a human, which is the best thing of ever and the most important expression in art. So it's amazing. And thank you so much for your time here. Now, for the people that are watching us, I want to remember you. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. And for you, don't forget to follow us on our channels on Instagram, YouTube, and of course TikTok as European Film Club. And yeah, keep in mind that you can create your own film club on our platform, and of course start this amazing discovery journey through films. So thank you so much. It's been really a great session, and of course keep an eye on us, and most of all keep us updated with your other projects, Martin.
Thank you so much. I would also like to thank you for letting me be in this interview, and I can tell you one thing, girls, talking with the two of you have really filled my heart with hope for the future. So keep on and keep up. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, really. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.